Weekend Update. The Weekend Update. Your weekly recap of news, current events, and trending stories. Let's do this. The Weekend Update with your host, Nate Armbruster.
Hello and welcome to another episode. This is episode 61 of Weekend Update. Thanks for coming back or hanging out. Okay, so you guys have noticed now. It's been a couple weeks since I've posted an episode. So today's your lucky day. I dropped 3 episodes in one day just to keep up with the numbers. Okay, I'm finally caught up with everything. I recorded 3 episodes. And you know, the thing is, this is the worst part about this whole situation is I've recorded these, but just never took the time to edit or upload them. And part of it's just because I got really busy, and then the other part is just I kind of forgot. So I would record them, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to come back and edit this in a few. And then by the time I sat down and did it, it was after Monday, and it was like, what am I doing? And now it's late, and then, you know, it just piles up, and now it's 3 weeks later. Yet here we are, though. Okay, here we are. 3 episodes you got to binge listen to today, and then you can pretend like they came out like they're older. So even though they're late, technically, you're getting the same amount of episodes. All right, so what's going on this week? Last weekend, we had, St. Patrick's Day and the beginning of March Madness. Now, March Madness, this is one of those events. It's similar to the World Cup of soccer, you know, for me. And I don't know why I specified of soccer. I feel like that's pretty much synonymous with soccer, right? World Cup. It's kind of like that for me, where it's like I don't know the first thing about college basketball. I know what teams I like. I know some of the coaches, but I don't understand the ins and outs. I honestly probably couldn't ref a game. Like, that's how little I know about basketball, especially college basketball. Every year I have to remind myself, oh, that's right, there's 2 halves, not 4 quarters, you know? Because it'd be like really exciting, and it'll just say, you know, a few minutes left in the second, and you're thinking like, well, I'm thinking, wow, they got 2 whole quarters left. Why is everyone getting all worked up about these last few minutes of the half, you know? And that's like, nope, this is the end of the game. So that's where I'm at. That's where my knowledge of college basketball is, you know? But every year, March Madness, and I always forget, like, it's one of those things that farther out, you know, you're like, oh, that's coming up, right? Because you have certain events every year that kind of mark the season for me, right? Like March Madness means the beginning of spring to me in a lot of ways. You know, it's usually around St. Patrick's Day. The weather's starting to you're getting those first few warmer days where you're like, I'm going to open the windows, like those kind of days. Well, the truth is that I always end up forgetting about March Madness that week leading up to it, and then the morning of the beginning of the tournament, when the games are about to start in the early afternoon or whatever, and someone sends a text like, hey, did you fill out your bracket? And you're like, no, I can't believe I forgot to do it. And then I still do it, even though I don't know the first thing about basketball. I'm still like, you know what? I still want to play. I want to, because I've never done good at it. I've never won any money. And I never get that lucky. And I feel like that's so much of the tournament is like, even the people in my life that I know follow the sport and have probably a pretty well-rounded, solid idea about who's going to go far or who's going to do good for the most part. Even they get it wrong a lot of the time. So in my head, the gambling addict in me is like, I'm going to do it anyway, just to see how it goes. It's just something exciting. It gives you something to look forward to, you know? But every year I'm wrong, and I filled it out 10 minutes before. There were 10 minutes, and then I had to download the app, try and remember what my password was, because I delete it after the tournament every year, because I'm an idiot. Actually, no, I just need the space on my phone. But the thing is, I forget, and I know that I'm going to forget, yet I still make it complicated every year, you know? But I did it in less than 10 minutes. I filled out 2 brackets. I did 2 for each pool I'm in, okay? So I filled out 2 brackets, and I just did the automatic random pick. I was like, you just do it for me, which tells you how also careless I am with my gambling, okay? I'm not going to look up any of these teams, but damn it, I still want to spend $10 this morning. You know what I mean? So that's what I've had on all weekend. We've been watching college basketball, and it is exciting because these kids are playing for something. You know, it's kind of refreshing to see someone actually care about something. on TV. These guys, these people are fighting for their lives. They're playing, they're playing their hearts out, and they're just like, 18, 19, 20, and you're like, I'm at that age now where I'm just sitting there watching in awe and kind of jealous, frankly, at these talented kids. And that's the thing, is they're kids now. When I look at them, I see children, and I'm not even old yet. That's mind-blowing to me when I'm like, man, I remember when I was in college. I remember, and I didn't, and I never could do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's nuts to me, is these kids are pretty good at basketball, and I'm sitting there eating ice cream or whatever, and judging how, like, really I'm going to yell at the TV at these poor kids who aren't making a dime of the billions that are made off the tournament. So that's why I always get a kick out of it, is I like to watch, and it's, I think people are nostalgic for college, or at least that age, that era of their life. Like, maybe you didn't go to college, but that era of your life, those formative years of, like, figuring out who you are as an adult and figuring out what you like to do, like what you want to do, what you want to pursue in life. And I think a lot of people like to watch it because of that. They're like, I went to this school, so I'm going to root for them. And then you meet up with your friends, you tell college stories, you have all this nostalgia for it. And I'm always amazed at how, like looking at college kids now, how different the world is, even from when I went or when I was in college, And I always think it's funny, like, hearing the marching bands. I feel like that's the only setting that I'm okay with hearing a marching band. And this is not meant to be a put down for band kids or marching band, but that is the only atmosphere in which I find it appropriate, where I won't mind hearing a marching band. Any other setting, no thanks. I'm leaving as soon as I can. You know what I mean? Also, you got the kids, like, I was watching a game the other day. This girl, every time there was a free throw, right? This girl would scream at the top of her lungs, like bloody murder, like screaming, as if something, almost like if you heard this scream anywhere else, you'd be like, wow, someone's in a lot of trouble. But every time this guy would go up to shoot the ball, she would scream, and it didn't work. The guy made every shot, and she did it every time, the whole game. And all I could think was, like, is there any point where you just go, you know what, maybe this isn't working, maybe I'm just annoying the shit out of anybody who's sitting near me. I was never that guy. I could never be the guy in the crowd at a sporting event heckling the players, trying to throw them off their game. Because, like, first of all those players can kick the hell out of me. You know what I mean? The guy yelling at I like going to events like this, but the guy yelling and trying to just stir up a bunch of shit because they think it's funny. And it's usually not. Sometimes it is, but it's usually not. And that's the thing, is like there's like a fine line between this guy's so much fun and then this guy needs to shut the hell up before I lose my mind. You know what else I'm noticing is, living in Chicago is definitely a lot different than many areas of, like, when it comes to holidays. Like, they do St. Patrick's Day, they go all out. They obviously dye the river green. That's a big deal, even though it's green year round. But they dye the river green. I mean, that's how much they like and celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And I didn't go out and do anything for St. Patrick's Day, but it's just a big going out, bar hopping holiday, And like I said, it's sometimes the weather's nice. It's a great reason to go out and drink and wear green. And that's fine. Okay. But you know what I'm noticing too about it is, like, people, I'm really noticing how people don't know how to handle their alcohol. They don't know how to not drink too much sometimes. It's like, it's almost like it's their intent to go out and drink so much that you throw up on the sidewalk. Like, you can't even get to a dumpster or a garbage can. Like, I took the dog out this morning. Okay, this is the Sunday after St. Patrick's Day, and we're walking this morning, and I'm like, why is there so much? Like, there's like almost ice. Where I'm like, why is there? And then I encounter just a pile of vomit. And I'm like, what? And then I realize it's just from, businesses who have hosed off their sidewalk and stuff. But I cannot believe it. I mean, how much? Oh, it's just so, it's just not the thing you expect to see on a Sunday morning, And I had to remind myself, like, oh, that's right, it's St. Patrick's Day. Another, like, I'm past I am past all that, and I'm kind of excited for it. I think some people peak in their young adulthood. I don't think I've peaked yet. I don't even know if that's something I can attest to. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I think, like, I'm going to be I'm much more meant to be like a boring adult than I am, a fun college kid. You know what I mean? Like, these are the things you do as an adult I can be good at. The things that, kids do, or like, like going out and partying all day on St. Patrick's Day. I could never do that. That was not, I didn't have the interest or the energy to do that. I'm more of a, you know what? Let's stay home or go do a show. You know what I mean? This is a very simple existence. I don't need to go to the cool bar anymore. I don't need to go where all the cool people are going. I'm fine. Give me the same old dive bar where the music isn't so loud that I can't hear the person I'm talking to. All right, one more kind of sort of awkward encounter I had this weekend. This is such a me thing. Like, if you know me or know anything about me, you know how uncomfortably awkward I am in many situations, and especially if I'm not paying attention, I'll make it way worse, and it always makes for something that I find entertaining. So today I had ordered something online. I ordered a pair of shoes from DSW, okay, and I said I'm going to come pick them up tomorrow. And then today I decided to head out and go pick them up. And the thing about it is, it's in the city, so I park on the top level or whatever, right? And I get I'm waiting for the elevator. There's two other guys waiting already. I had headphones in. I'm minding my own business, but I'm also paying attention so I don't miss the elevator. Because I don't want to be the guy that's not paying attention with headphones in, misses his elevator, and they're all like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? You know what I mean? Because that's all I'm thinking. This is the kind of shit that goes through my head all day, by the way. It's just it's never a normal, just mindless day. This is just the stuff that I think about while everyone else is just walking around enjoying themselves. I'm annoying myself with something, right? So I get on the elevator, and first, before we got on, there was the elevator was packed, and it was one big group and then another lady. Well, that big group gets off. We all get on, and I think, okay, we're going down. They must be going to the same floor. I forget to hit the button or tell her what button to hit. Because, that's the thing is, like, standing by the elevator buttons is you have a duty to ask everyone else, hey, what floor are you going to? Which one are you going to? And if you don't do that, I think you in a way, you kind of, that's like sitting in the emergency exit row on a plane. You're like, man, I'm never gonna have to. Of course I'll help. And you never really think you're gonna, you just want the extra leg room. But I think it's a similar thing where, like, okay, yeah, I know this is just something that I have to do. It's like being first at the left turn lane. Okay, if you are not on your A game and you're the next person to turn, to lead the way. Okay, if you're the first person in line at the left turn lane, and the second it turns green, if you don't move the second it turns green, yeah, you've ruined everyone's day. Everyone behind you. That's just you're a menace to society. That's what I like. So this is kind of the same deal. I think it's one of those just unwritten, like, okay, I know my role here. What floor you want? What floor you want? And especially when it gets packed on the elevator, And so I didn't want to say anything to her. I thought we were going to the same floor. Well, it turns out we weren't. Okay, and it's only like 5 floors. But I wait, and then I realize they're all getting off at the other floor. So when they move, I go in and I hit basement because that's the floor I want, thinking we're going to go down more. Well, a guy gets on and he goes, shit, I thought this was going up. And it ended up going up. So my dumbass rides up and down the elevator. I hit every stop twice because I didn't know how. And this whole time I probably could have gotten off and taken the stairs or an escalator or gone to a different store and walked down. I don't know. That in hindsight, this was all my fault, clearly. But in hindsight, I'm definitely an idiot. And the funniest part is, like, a guy gets off the elevator to go into the store, and then as I'm coming back down, he's getting back on. So I was on the elevator long enough for one person to complete their shopping trip, and they're looking at me like, what the hell? Do you just, like, work on the elevator? Are you the elevator attendant? So this is why I shop online almost exclusively, okay? I shouldn't be out in public. I shouldn't. It's always weird. Hey, by the way, my special hit 30,000 views on YouTube, which is very exciting for me. So if you've watched it and if you've subscribed because of it, thank you. If you haven't watched it yet, go check it out. Links in the show description. Go to my Instagram, all that good stuff. And give it a watch if you don't mind. Also, I got a lot of shows coming up. If you want to see me do stand-up live, you can find all of that information online as well. Go to my social media, @NateComedy, or for something specific, if you want to know when I'm coming to your town exactly and when I'm coming to that town, just go sign up for my email list. That'd be great. And I will email you when I'm coming to your town. Anyway, there isn't much else that I wanted to talk about other than this particular story about a guy in Ohio who was arrested for his 70th time after shoplifting a suitcase full of meat. Okay, of all the things you could steal, I mean, that's on the list, right? Meat, it feeds you. It's good for it's food, it's a necessity for life. But arrested 70 times, I don't know what's weirder, the fact that he has been arrested 70 times or the fact that he was trying to steal a suitcase full of meat. Now, not to spoil anything, but this did happen at a Walmart in Ohio. Okay, a Garfield Heights man was arrested again for shoplifting, again for the 70th time for shoplifting, but this time he was stealing a cart full of meat in a suitcase to put them in from the store. According to the SEPD, Walmart called the police to report a shoplifter who pushed a shopping cart loaded with various cuts of packaged meats in a suitcase out of the store without paying for them. The suspect was seen in the parking lot near Penn Station's dumpster packing the meat inside the stolen suitcase. I feel like if you're already out, now I don't want to, this is not a how to successfully steal podcast, okay? But this is how this guy's been arrested 70, because he's a moron. Not just because he's stealing like a lot, okay? You're stealing a lot of stuff. Like someone's going to notice that, okay? But you don't go to a nearby Penn Station's dumpster, okay? You've got out. You made it. Go home. You know what I mean? You don't have to pack this up into this. This guy really wanted to use the suitcase. He's like, well, I did steal both, so I better still pack it up into the suitcase. Like, this is good. Like, I don't understand his logic here. But after all, he has been arrested 70 times. So he threw out the meat he couldn't fit into the stolen suitcase into the dumpster, and the suspect abandoned the shopping cart in the parking lot after its security. Like, just throw it in the car, dude. What are you doing? And by the way, normally I try to be a good person. I'm not going to root necessarily for the guy who's committing the crime, because you're not supposed to steal, not like that. And like, I would imagine, I'd like to think this guy was just desperate. Like, obviously, maybe he's trying to feed his family, right? I mean, if you can't afford it, you're going to figure out a way to get it, After his arrest, though, the cops found out that he steals the meat and sells it to restaurants to make the money. And I'm like, well, that's not okay. I mean, yeah, it's not right. But imagine going to the local, Longhorn Steakhouse and realizing you're eating it's Longhorns, okay? I guess you don't really expect I don't know what you expect from Longhorns, but you find out you're eating a steak stolen from Walmart. But hey, this is one of those crimes where I'm like, you're not really hurting anybody. I'm not gonna hold it against you. I'm just gonna go ahead and chalk it up to like the guy was desperate. He had to figure out something, right? But anyway, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Weekend Up Nate. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit subscribe and tell your friends about it. Give it a share, a like, all that good stuff, and keep coming back. Hey, there's three full episodes out today, okay? Granted, they were recorded weeks prior when I should have posted them, but you're getting them today, and I hope you enjoy them. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for another new episode of Weekend Up Nate.
You've been listening to the Weekend Up Nate with Nate Armbruster, and you liked it, didn't you? If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Weekend Up Nate. Bye-bye.